Are you kidding me, game? Hey guys, it's Jim here, and welcome back to another episode of Heroes and Generals by this warthunder. And in today's episode, we are looking at the final tank that you can unlock as the US tanker in Heroes and Generals. This is the M26 Pershing, and it's basically Heroes and Generals tier 2 heavy tank for the US tech tree. However, if you're wondering why existing class is a medium tank instead of a heavy tank, well, the story is that when this thing was put into action in Europe, this was the heaviest tank that the United States have. Not only is it carrying a very big gun, it also carries a very thick frontal armor, both the turret and the upper front plate. The Jumbo didn't exactly count as a heavy tank because it's just a Sherman with added armor. But anyway, the other reason is that after the Second World War ended, when this thing came back home, there were more tanks that were being put into service or through production that is actually a lot heavier than this thing. For example, tanks like the T-29, the T-30, T-34, all these are heavy tanks that are way heavier than the M26 Pershing, which is why in the end it just got classed as a medium tank instead of a heavy tank in terms of weight class. But anyway, if you're seeing the title and you think, why on earth is this thing the best? Do you want good tank in 6.3 battle rating? Well, let me break it down to you and I will show you why this thing is like the only viable tank at 6.3. Now first things first, armor. Like the Jumbo, you have 101.6mm of armor right here. There's sloped at 46 degrees. A little bit less of a slope, but it still bounces like the German Jumbo nonetheless. However, the unfortunate thing is that you're at battle rating 6.3, so that means there's a lot of guns that can actually chew through this. You know, Panthers, Tiger 2s, IS-2s, you name it. But should you ever get a down tier, then yeah, this thing is basically like shooting a upper front plate of a Jumbo. And all you have to do is angle. Now the good news about this thing angling is that unlike the Jumbo Sherman, it doesn't have a issue with the side armor, given that it's about 3 inches thick. So if you angle, yeah, they're not getting through this anytime soon. Unlike the Jumbo where if you angle, you're exposing this thing called your lower sides. But yeah, if you're showing a full front, maybe a down tier it would work, but yeah. Just be careful about 2 areas though. One is that your gun port over here, your machine gun port over here, kinda acts as a little bit of a weak spot. So this is something you need to keep in mind. Either put bushes around here if you got it, or put a jerry can or something. And then the second spot to be careful of is this, your lower glacis. It's only 3 inches thick. And if you're wondering, it's a very wide angle, right? Well, I'm not talking about the middle right here, I'm talking about the sides. As you can see, there's very little angles here and you're only effective out to about 90mm. There's a lot of guns that can easily chew through this if you're not careful. And if you're wondering, sure, they can penetrate this, but my transmission will eat it, right? Well, unfortunately, this is the M26 Pershing and the transmission's in the back. So, yeah, bad chance, buddy. And then moving up, the turret armor, you have the variable thickness armor that I believe is around 150 or so. But yeah, I said it before and I said it many times already, variable thickness armor is probably the most broken armor type in War Thunder. Oh my goodness, I mean like, look at this man, I just moved my mouse a little bit to the right and it's 250 millimeters of armor. So all you have to do in this thing is keep wiggling your turret and keep moving. As long as you keep moving, they can't penetrate your turret armor. Just be careful about one thing though, do not angle your turret for too long because they can shoot this. So how about the mobility on this thing? Well, the good news is that you do have a wide set of tracks, but unfortunately for mobility, you don't exactly have a very good engine for your total tonnage. Unfortunately, so even though it goes up to 48 kilometers an hour, building up to speed is a bitch in this thing. If you go off-road, you can get stuck around 20 kilometers an hour or so. That's not very fast, you know. But the good news is that it does have a reverse gear, so should you actually overextend too much, it's not too difficult to go back into cover. So if you're wondering why is this thing the one good tank at 6.3, well, firstly, I'm going to compare this with the other 6.3 tanks. So tanks like the Walker Bulldog and the T-34, T-26 E1, T-26 E5 will not be counted. if you're gonna compare it with the other 6.3 tanks, well, firstly, T25 you only have like 3 inches of armor in your front and like same battle rating, same gun, weaker armor. And sure, you're lighter, but the last time I played this thing, the build up to speed is actually a problem in this thing. Trust me when I say that. And it doesn't help either that they got rid of the gun stabilizer this thing used to have. So yeah, that's unfortunate. And then there's the Sherman Jumbo, which your armor's not going to do anything at 6.3 when you come across a Tiger 2, your gun is not going to do the same thing either. So comparing this with the M26 Pershing, at least the Pershing has a 90mm and not a 3-inch gun. And then as for the premiums, you have this thing, the T28. Sure, armor actually works on this thing because it's 305. But the engine is so weak for something so heavy. You're only going up to 12.8 kilometers an hour, so by the time you get into battle and maybe one kill, the match is as good as over. So yeah. And then there's this thing which is basically a copy paste M26 Pershing armed with a bunch of M8 rockets. Of all rockets to mount on this thing, man, you gave it M8 rockets. Just why? And then of course there's Super Hellcat, sure, like fast platform on the same 90mm for flank and spanking. The thing is that if you're going to be flank and spanking, you're already doing that with a Hellcat that you got for free, so not exactly sure why would you want to spend 6,000 golden eagles for this. So yeah, as you can see, like M26 is the only viable tank at 6.3, man, honestly. There's other tanks that used to be at 6.3, but guess what? People keep complaining and yeah, American faction basically just got bugged. Anyway, moving on. The firepower of this thing. This is the 90mm M3 cannon, and yes, it's the same gun you saw on the M26 tank destroyer. And as a 90mm goes, this is the shell that we're using. The armor piercing ballistic cap shell that pans up to 173mm of armor at point blank with 114 grams of explosive mass. So yeah, you will be one-shotting most tanks you come across should this round ever penetrate. Just that unfortunately at 6.3 you do have to aim your gun a little bit carefully, unfortunately. And of course you will come across tanks that you cannot penetrate from the front, like the Elephant, the Ferdinand tank destroyer, or worst case scenario you get up there and you face the Yak Tiger or the Tiger 2 each. And if that's the case, I suggest you bring a few APCR just to be safe. 287mm of penetration at point blank. No explosive mass unfortunately, and really horrible angle of penetration as we all know. But the good news is that the reason why you bring this, they do have flat surfaces on the front, so yeah, go ahead and use this if you like. Anyway, the other aspects of the gun, we have 17 rounds of ammunition. I say just bring as many as you want. As you can see, there's ammunition all over on the underside of the turret. And as well as you can also see ammunition in the turret as well, and yeah, unfortunately they are first stage ammo. So that means it doesn't matter how many shells you carry, there's going to be at least 10 shells up here. There's going to be ammo rack very easily should they shoot your turret. So it's another reason why I don't suggest angling the turret for too long. The second they see this, they're going to shoot this, and that's your ammunition behind it. Otherwise, just bring as many as you want. Bring more, bring less, doesn't matter. Reloading rate 8.7 seconds. The original reloading rate is 9.7 seconds, which is still kinda long nonetheless. So this is something you need to be careful of. You can get yourself caught with your pants down if you're not careful. So my advice is fire your shot and then make use of that reverse gear of yours. Vertical guidance, negative tank gun depression, which is excellent if you are doing a hold on position. And finally, no gun stabilizer. From what I remember reading is that apparently the Sherman tank crewmen actually didn't like the stabilizer on the Sherman tanks. Some say they even turned it off. So that might be the reason why they got rid of it. But anyway, it's something you need to be careful of. Sometimes your gun does bounce quite a bit with the 90mm. So there you have it. This is the M26 Pershing. So how does this compare with Heroes and Generals? Well, I mean, Heroes and Generals one is actually pretty fast for a heavy tank. Some say that they actually like it because it's faster than the Tiger and the IS heavy tanks. Unfortunately, Rito decided to do the same thing as warthunder did with the terrain. Like, if you're driving way off-road, then your tank is not going to be able to speed. So yeah. And another thing is, what's the point of your tank going really fast if the map is going to bottleneck you to a bridge or a river ford anyway? As well as the armor in Heroes and Generals is a little bit lacking, unfortunately. I mean, if I can best this thing in my SU-76M, you know there's something wrong with tanks in Heroes and Generals. But anyway, that's all I gotta say about the tanks now. Now let's take this thing out into battle and pray to God that I stop getting my max up tiers. Please. There's another one behind him. I think that's the one I saw. Did you following that? What the hell was that high rate of fire noise? Get in there, buddy. I got a nasty in front of me. God damn it, gun down! Ugh. It's between buildings.
Attention to the map. Attention to the map. Just keep it up, and victory will be ours. Attention to the designated grid square. Attention to the designated grid zone.
And just like that, I have my altitude.
Attention to the designated grid square.
Is he just so dumb? You know I don't trust that fire, right?
Pressure on. Victory is close.
Bloody scared the shit out of me. Oh my god. Fuck you too, IS3.
Enemy forces have captured the zone.
Are you kidding me, game?
Grid zone. Capture most of the strategic zone. Defend the C point. Enemy forces have captured a zone. Defend the B point. Defend the A point.
Yeah, this one, bro. I'm gonna kill this guy. Oh, fuck. Fuck. Oh. I saw like an IS-2 or something. Can't even see. Oh, this
A little more effort, and victory will be ours.
Keep going.
Attention to the designated grids. Attack the A point.
Oh boy, I want to help by a different angle.
Attention
it.
Attention to the designated square.
Get out of here, jackass.
Enemy forces have captured a zone. Attention to the designated grid square. Attention to the designated grid square.
Yeah, I got the hint. I'm going.